What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench podcast network and channel, giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. Shad, Kelvin, KB, Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. For everyone who's tuning in, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench, subscribing to the channel, helping to make the show the best that it can be. And I wanted to share something, man. I was just kind of, going about my day yesterday, and a thought just appeared out of nowhere, man, and it resonated so deep that I was like, man, I gotta share this, man. When it comes to this debate, man, this contrived debate, manufactured debate, a debate that is unnecessarily talked about around the clock every single day, 24/7, 365. You know what I'm saying? And it's becoming so redundant and mundane that it has caused the NBA to become stagnant. I believe it's one of the contributing factors to waning interest in the NBA. Viewership continues to decline. And to me, when you attempt to stage a debate in this fashion of trashing the past, it sends a terrible message. I believe it gives a lot of today's current players a false sense of superiority. And as a result, the standard that was generated and achieved in the past is not being upheld. What I mean by that is, as I always like to say, you do not have to be considered the greatest player ever to leave a lasting impression among basketball fans, to maintain the standard, to make a positive contribution in your own right, in your own unique way. That's all you really want as fans, man. You cannot predict who's going to be the greatest ever. That's the beauty of it. Now, there's some players that enter the league. You figure, when the league was more center driven, that most top centers entering the NBA during that time, you figure it was a safe bet they would come in right away and start to dominate. And that's what many of them did, from Will Chamberlain to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, Moses Malone. We can go down the line. But the problem is, this debate is not genuine. Let me put it this way. The beauty about the NBA in the past was whatever was going to be determined was going to be done so by the outcome on the court. And the outcome on the court was based by competition between superstars, not superstars joining forces. When you are a superstar and you join forces with two other superstars or franchise players, for all practical purposes, it really doesn't matter what you achieve that particular year. To me, it's exempt. That's just to me, if you want to uphold the history of the game and recognize what made the league great. So this thought into my head yesterday, man, I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like when you least expect, man, it just hits you, right? So when we start talking about, because they'll say, a lot of these cats like the Nick Wrights of the world, they'll say, well, to determine who is the GOAT is not based on championships. But all actuality, sports is about winning. When you pursue a career, let me put it in the past, when you were a kid and you aspire to become a professional athlete, all the moments where you imagine making the game-winning shot or throwing a game-winning touchdown or hitting the game-winning home run to achieve victory. Oh, man, he hit the game-winning shot. Oh, we won the title. Oh, I threw the game-winning touchdown. We just won the Super Bowl. So you strive to win the title, the championship. In your mind, you fantasize. You don't say, well, I just aspired to make the finals, or I just aspired to, lead the league in this and lead the league in that. So ultimately, it is about winning. That's why, when you look at, particularly in NBA, when you look at the career of a player, when they first enter the league, the first step of their development as a player is proving that you belong in the league. Right? So your rookie season may stand out. Right? So then you want to prove that you can compete and that you're just as good as far as individual, from an individual perspective, that you're just as good as the stars, the current stars of the day that have played in the league longer than you had. That's the next step. Then from there, the next step is leading your team to the playoffs, right? In the grand scheme of things, leading your team to the playoffs. Then the next stage is becoming and solidifying yourself and your team as a contender, right? Then when it gets to the point where a complete team is built around you, where you know that you're in a position to vie for a championship, then at that point, when you're in that position, the expectation becomes greater and greater. The further you go along in your career, in terms of inching closer to winning the title, right? Then if you fall short, then the criticism is, can so-and-so lead their team to the title? And that applies to everybody, not just one player from this generation or this decade. That applies to, they place that expectation of criticism on whether it was Wilt Chamberlain or Kareem or Dr. J. You know what I'm saying? It's not, there's no bias in that, right? Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal went through the same thing. So I'm getting at, man, they have totally devalued the perspective of who should be considered or who's in the conversation for being the greatest ever. And like I say, when I watch the NBA, man, I don't be sitting there every moment of the day comparing this era to past eras. I watch the game for that moment. Okay, so since they want to take it there, and they say it's solely not built on how many championships that you win. Okay, so the hot button topic that's nauseating ad nauseum at this point, and who's greater between the Hurricane and Michael Jordan. So when you look at this graphic right here, and see the thing about it, man, the Hurricane, okay, he's won 4 league EVPs, right? Okay. He has accolades. But the problem is what he declared himself. This is 2024. He made a declaration back in 2018 that he was chasing a ghost of 23 and red in Chicago. He said he's trying to chase the ghost. So what that means is when you make a statement like that, that means you're behind in this so-called debate. So try to establish his case in his mind for being the greatest, he has relied on longevity, stat accumulation. But what's missing out that equation is winning. Despite the fact that every year, whatever team he's been playing on has been forced to fork over the road in order to try to stack the deck to make it easier for him to achieve that goal. Right? So since he was brought to the Lakers, the Hurricane had one successful season that ended with a so-called championship in a bubble. But check this out. This is where longevity if you apply logic and pull back the layers and look at the and really dissect the argument that longevity should be a criteria. When you look at this graphic, longevity realistically don't apply. I'll tell you why. The Hurricane, this is 2024. He has not won a league MVP since 2013. And he was playing in Miami with Wade and Bosh. And then later on, Ray Allen and Rashard Lewis and all these cats. He hasn't won a league MVP since 2013. Since then, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry back-to-back, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Giannis back-to-back, Jokic back-to-back, Embiid, Jokic. Them have been your MVPs since 2013. No all defensive teams. So you can tell that when he returned back to Cleveland in 2014, now he formed his second super team in Miami. Despite what his fans are going to say, he formed a second super team. Kyrie Irving was the new Dwayne Wade. Kevin Love was the new Chris Bosh. Okay. So basically, from that point on, he has tried to establish his case based on longevity by taking the lesser road travel to accomplish that goal. What I mean by the lesser road travel is stacking the deck. But what has happened is it's created more fluctuation and inconsistency with the teams that he's been putting together. Because to achieve this goal that he's trying to set out, he has compromised playing defense consistently throughout the season, and that lack of defensive effort, it throws the entire team chemistry off to where the success is being generated by focusing on exclusively outscoring the opponent. But he's still catching up, trying to catch up to Jordan. And this is what I'm getting at. Longevity goes against you when you're trying to shortcut certain aspects of the game. Sacrificing defense for the sake of maintaining your offensive production. Because if you had to play both sides of the ball consistently throughout the course of the season, the longevity would not exist. And he will succumb to the attrition just as every other player has who has preceded him. But what's crazy is when you look at this graphic right here, and when you see these accolades, take away the championships. When you look at this, man, it's not even close. It's not even close. Okay. Not to mention, then if you add the finals as the last caveat, then it creates an even further separation because we know that one player never lost in the finals and won 6 times, 2 three-peats. The other guy has been going to and fro, this team, that team, and stacked the deck to oblivion. Now check this out. So the pundits that carry out these sports shows that provide commentary of the NBA, they'll tell you that 40,000 points proves that he's the GOAT, the Hurricane. But he has not achieved in totality what Michael Jordan has achieved. So it gets to, ultimately, it's not about longevity. It's about winning. Now check this out. What LeBron is trying to achieve by scoring 40,000 points, Jordan achieved times 2 by scoring only 29,000 points. So what I'm saying is, it's taking the Hurricane 40,000 points to win these 4 championships, right? While trying to limit the level of attrition that he would have had to overcome and being a superstar, leading his team in a conventional sense by not forming super squads. But he's still behind the guy that did more with less talent and a higher degree of difficulty. And what I mean by higher degree of difficulty is in a shorter period of time. So much so, Michael Jordan was so far ahead that by the age of 30, he reached the conclusion that he had no more challenges. Because he always said, if I feel I have nothing else to prove, he had no other challenge, nothing else to prove, then he said he would not disrespect the game by just going out there and playing, just for the sake of it. So he retired, spotted the league 2 championships, although the championship run of Akeem Olajuwon in 2005, that's one of the greatest dominant runs I've ever seen by an NBA superstar, what he achieved. But what I'm saying is, Jordan spotted the league 2 championships to go play another sport that he hadn't played in over 10 years. And if it wasn't for the strike of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball shutting down play in 1995, according to his AAA team baseball manager at the time, Terry Francona, who went on to manage the Boston Red Sox in the Major League, he said Michael Jordan would have made the major leagues. Because he was in his second year playing, his first year attempting baseball, he was playing a double A. And then the second year, he got called a triple A. So in his third year, what Terry Francona was saying was he would have became a Major League Baseball player. So what I'm saying is he achieved, then returned back. He got in full basketball shape and then racked off his second three-peat. And then the team was broken up probably a year prematurely. So we're talking about a situation where realistically, this man could have won 8 championships. And it just shows it's not about quantitative stats. It's about qualitative results. This sports is about, if you want to start talking about the greatest, it's about winning. That's what it's about. Now the stats will come along with it, but stats should never be held in higher esteem than why organizations draft players to begin with the hopes of down the road that you build a team around a cornerstone player to pursue championships. That's been the goal in basketball, football, baseball, hockey, when it comes to organized team professional sports. And nobody did it in more absolute fashion than 23 and Red. When you start talking about this comparison, when you break it down like that, what this man's trying to achieve in 22 years, the other guy, realistically, Jordan played 11 full seasons with the Chicago Bulls because everybody knows his second year, he injured his foot 3 games into his second season and returned back. I believe he missed something like 60. I know he missed 60 some games. So he returned back with like maybe, let's see, about a month to go in the season, and he was playing under minutes restrictions, and they lifted the minutes restriction for the playoffs. Then he returned back 17 games left during the 1994-95 season. So realistically, in 11 seasons, this man won 6 championships. And it happened so fast that from 91 to 98, he went from, how can I say this, man? He kept adding to the legend, man. And it became so custom before you know it, he wound up winning 6. It happened fast. When he retired in 93, Michael Jordan, the league was relieved because they felt they had a chance to do it. They finally had a chance to win. They're like, man, we better buckle up and try to get these because we don't know if we're going to come back or not. That's why when Orlando beat the Bulls in 95, Orlando felt so celebratory. They're like, man, we beat Jordan? But they know they didn't beat the real Jordan. They beat a Jordan that wasn't all the way there in terms of NBA conditioning wise. That's why he would, kind of fatigue during the end of those games because he didn't have the conditioning. A year later, man, they swept Orlando so bad, people start, going west. Orlando was done at that moment already. So what I'm saying is, man, when you break it down, what the Hurricane is trying to achieve in 22 seasons, realistically, Michael Jordan did in 11 seasons, 11 full seasons, which led him to conclude that essentially he conquered the sport of basketball. And that's why the naysayers, the revisionists, have to go back to the beginning of his career and say, well, why didn't he win a championship as a rookie? Well, you can ask that of a lot of rookies. Most rookies, Kareem didn't win. Wilt didn't win his first year. Heck, Bill Russell, if I recall, didn't win his first year. We could say that about damn near every rookie who's into the NBA. You see what I'm saying? There's rare exceptions like Magic. He did it. Magic, he did it as a rookie, but he had obstacles. He had setbacks along the way. You know what I'm saying? So my point is this, and I'm going to shut this down, man. It just hit me in such a profound way yesterday that, like I said, man, if you're trying to, and see what's happening is, when you play this long with the intent of trying to establish your case for being the GOAT based on longevity, and when you're not winning, man, well, how can I say this? The criteria for greatness becomes devalued based on the yearly results of what the player that they're trying to prop to the top, the outcome of his season year in and year out. So the more that he falls short, the more they have to change the criteria and try to come up with other explanations to try to state their case. And this is why the NBA has become stagnant. If they maintain the standard for all players, they did it with Michael Jordan, because they said no matter how great he is, he cannot be considered the best player in the league officially until he wins a championship. And he did it by defeating Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson played great in the finals in 91. But Jordan played better. And that's that. And so by year's end, he was recognized as the game's greatest player. There was no questions, no ifs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So at the end of the day, what one guy is trying to achieve to reach quote unquote GOAT status by playing as long as he's trying to and scoring, generating all these stats. Michael Jordan achieved twice as much, essentially, in a shorter period of time, only having to score 29,000 points to do it. So he did it in a higher degree of difficulty, meaning that he achieved more in a shorter period of time, which is harder to do. Because if you think about it, by the time Jordan was in position to start vying for championships, there was always that major obstacle in the way, being the Detroit Pistons, right? So they was getting closer and closer and closer. You see what I'm saying? But it was such, in a situation like that, you feel that if we don't get it done this year, if we finally don't get it done this year, the run is over, and we're going to go another direction, But when they broke through, it was almost like the buildup of all the years of succumbing to the Pistons. Once they broke through, man, there was no stopping them, dog. You see what I'm saying? So, in essence, it's more difficult to achieve all that in a shorter period of time, because you figure at some point over a span, someone's going to overtake you. You see, so during that Bulls run, every year they had a new challenger awaiting them. It wasn't like always the same team or whatnot. It was a new challenge. 1 year is this team, 1 year is this team, 1 year is this team. So, and you're winning basically with the same roster. You're not tweaking the roster. You're not overhauling the roster. So not only are you winning in a shorter period of time under a high degree of difficulty, but you're doing so through the attrition and with the same lineup every year. You see what I'm saying? So that's when you really understand what competition is about, that you reach these conclusions, man. And when you look at it like that, it's not close, man. In terms of winning, absolute winning, no strings attached. You see what I'm saying? So, in other words, the longer that this guy plays and continues to fall short, they're going to continue to try to downgrade Michael Jordan's career more and more and more, and they're going to become more belligerent with it, more mean-spirited with it. It's just going to get uglier, uglier, and uglier, because subconsciously they know that man set a standard and set the bar so freaking high that it's practically unattainable. You would essentially have to come in and do, even his rookie year, he set the bar high, averaging 28.2 points a game. No other rookie since, highly touted rookie, whether it's Shaquille O'Neal or Dave Robinson, whomever, Grant Hill, and they've had great. LeBron had a great rookie season. LeBron, Carmelo, Wembanyama, we can go down the line, man. They have not matched that. Akeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, if I didn't say his name already, Grandmama, Larry Johnson, Lonzo Mourning. They had great rookie years, man. They had AI, Stackhouse. So he was setting the bar right there, starting his career out right out the box. And this was after leading Team USA to the Olympic gold medal in '84. The last Olympic team, men basketball, winning the gold featuring college players. So, see, when you really look at it in terms of competition and absolute winning, when you look at it like that, man, there is no comparison between these two players. It's really all the fill in airtime during takes. That's all this is, man. That's all this is. But they're gonna have to move on from it, man, to move forward to save this league, because the league it's in peril now, man, and it could become third rate if they don't truly move forward and put an end to this manufactured debate that has no merit whatsoever. So I just want to drop that gold nugget, and until next time, this is your boy JB for BTB Behind the Bench.